Alright, this is a team comp video for the Raiden Shogun. Guys, welcome back to the channel. If you remember me from the last Raiden Shogun video where I explained to you her skills and her kit, well, unfortunately I got copyright striked for that video because I used leaked footage. So going forward, when I do these pre-analysis videos, I won't be using any more leaked footage, but hopefully the content is still good enough without the visual aids. So I hope that you guys will still continue to support me. Alright, now on to this video. Team comps for the Raiden Shogun. And really, there is only one team comp we can run for the Raiden Shogun. And well, that's solo Raiden Shogun because she is eternal and party members are a threat to eternity. So anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, just kidding. Let's actually go through some team comps for the Raiden Shogun. And before we start, these are not necessarily going to be meta comps, just comps that I think would be fun and work really well with the Raiden Shogun. This is really meant to just give you some ideas. If you remember from the skills breakdown video, I said that characters with 80 cost bursts are going to be really good for the Raiden Shogun because it helps her gain resolve stacks faster. Because really all you have to do is swap through all of your characters to get your resolve stacks. But this doesn't mean that you can't run characters with lower cost bursts on your team. It just means getting full resolve stacks will take longer, or you will have to settle for less resolve stacks on a single run through of all of your character's bursts. When she finally releases, I will definitely be doing some testing around whether or not we can get resolve stacks by using a burst with the character a second time around. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to, but it'll be good to actually make sure. If you do use characters with lower cost bursts and you want to max out her resolve stacks, it's going to take longer because you need to wait for the cooldown on those bursts. Typically 40 cost bursts have a 12-second cooldown and 60 cost bursts have 15 seconds. So you'll have to wait at least those 12 seconds or 15 seconds to recast, meaning a minimum of 12 or 15 seconds to get more resolve stacks. This is why with 80 cost bursts, you don't have that problem. They just need to be available. So let's first start off with the most fun team comps, and those are going to be Main DPS Raiden Shogun team comps. Because, well, why else would you click on a video about Raiden Shogun team comps if you didn't want to run her as Main DPS? I'm just kidding. There are all kinds of players in this game. Players that want to play for fun, and players that want to play as efficiently as possible. But we're going to start with Main DPS Raiden Shogun, because I think that's going to be the funnest. And also because she deserves to be kept on the field. She is the Shogun after all. So the first thing that we need to take care of if we're going to be playing her in the main DPS slot is to improve her physical damage. After all, you're going to have to spend a minimum of 18 seconds in this form, not counting the time you spend using your sub DPS and support characters. This is because the cooldown on her elemental burst is 18 seconds. And so since we're playing a split damage type character, I would recommend running energy recharge on the Sans piece and attack percent on the goblet. This way we get some extra energy recharge to help fuel her 90 cost burst, some electro damage bonus, and some extra energy generation during her elemental burst. Attack percent on the goblet instead of electro damage because we want to improve our physical damage as well. We spend a lot of time in that mode, so we need it to do decent damage. The next way to improve that physical damage is with superconduct. So we need a sub DPS or support cryo character for our second slot. This can come from the likes of Kaya, Rosaria, and well, technically Ganyu's burst can also fill that role, but most people that have Ganyu run her as main DPS. So anyone that has Ganyu and also wants to run Raiden Shogun, you know, it's up to you. Superconduct lasts 10 seconds, so it should be plenty of time to capitalize even if you don't have their bursts up, but they should be up anyway because we're talking about the Raiden Shogun here. She's got energy regeneration baked into her kit, so you really shouldn't have any problems using elemental bursts from the cryo characters. Either way, their E skills are on relatively low cooldowns, so you should be able to proc Superconduct pretty easily. And then to round everything off, during her burst, we want Electro Shred and Attack Boost or Electro Damage bonus. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. We use the Noblesse set or the Millilith set from our support characters. Electro Shred can come from an Animo character, Electro Traveler or C6 Beidou, or even Zhongli. An extra damage bonus and Shred can come from Kazuha if you have him. So the first two slots is going to be the Raiden Shogun and a cryo character, and then the last two slots is really up to you. Here are some examples for the last two slots. You can run Beidou or Kazuha, where Kazuha can basically be any other Animo character. Beidou and Zhongli, Beidou and Sara, Beidou and Bennett, although Bennett might cause some overload issues and knock enemies back, but you can just use his burst for her physical damage instead. Beidou and Electro Traveler, I guess if you don't have Sara or Bennett, and you can also easily replace Beidou with the Electro Traveler if you don't have her at C6. We can also run Double Geo here with Albedo and get that extra 15% damage bonus while shielded. But what about the heals? If you're missing heals, we can use Diona for the cryo character, and if you don't want to use that, then you can use either Jean or Sayu for your Animo character. And then of course there's just Bennett. What doesn't he do? And if you really want to be bold, if you're using Zhongli on the team, you don't need heals because the shield should protect you from all that damage. So anyway, that's how I plan to run my main DPS Raiden Shogun. Let me know what you guys think of that, and if you have any other kinds of ideas for main DPS Raiden Shogun, let me know down in the comments. Now it's time to move on to sub DPS roles for the Raiden Shogun. So the first way that the Raiden Shogun can fulfill her sub DPS role in a team comp is for basically any kind of physical carry team. Very common physical characters are Eula, Rosaria, Kaya. Yeah, I didn't forget you Kaya mains out there. I know that you guys can sometimes run him as a physical main DPS. Razor, and maybe even Chi-Chi? Is physical Chi-Chi a thing? Someone let me know. Anyone out there who is a Chi-Chi main ever run Chi-Chi as a physical DPS? It could work. But anyway, yes, the Raiden Shogun is going to provide very easy superconduct procs because her E skill lasts 25 seconds and procs every 0.9 seconds whenever your active character hits an enemy. It's unclear whether or not this works on shielded enemies, but as of right now, leaks suggest that they don't, but we'll do some testing when she actually finally releases. Things like that can definitely change. And then like before, once we have our superconduct fulfilled, we want to focus on attack boost and physical shred and damage boost. Attack boost can come from Sarah or Bennett, and then the physical shred can come from Zhongli, and then the elemental shred can come from the likes of an Animo character or Kazuha. A lot of the physical carry teams are also cryo based, so you might want to use cryo resonance just to help get more energy regeneration for those cryo characters, although the Raiden Shogun herself will be providing some pretty good energy regeneration already, as well as crit rate. And then as an alternative, for the final 2 slots in your team, you can run Double Geo. Next up is an Electro-Charged Team. The characters that are a best fit for this team is going to be Xingqiu, Mona, Child, and maybe even Kokomi. We don't know enough about Kokomi yet, but she could work in this team comp. She is definitely designed to be more of a main DPS or a burst sub DPS, but we'll talk about Kokomi in a whole nother video. So the core of this team is going to be the Raiden Shogun with Xingqiu or the Raiden Shogun with Child. For the 3rd slot, you can also run Xingqiu if you're running Child, or Mona in that 3rd slot for damage bonus and just extra hydro application. And then of course we're going to want attack boost and then elemental shred, either of the electro variety or hydro variety. Attack boost again comes from either Bennett or Sarah, and electro shred is going to come from an Animo character or Zhongli. We can also use C6 Beidou and the Electro Traveler for electro shred here. Electro charge is considered electro damage, so by lowering the resistance on electro, our electro charge actually does a little bit more damage. Now electro charge is just a team comp idea. I think that we'll actually need to lab this out because it's not 100% clear who is going to trigger the reaction with Raiden's E skill. The Raiden's E skill looks almost instant when you damage a enemy, so it's your active character who might trigger that reaction, and in that case you'll want some elemental mastery on the active character to boost the electro charge damage. Now me saying some elemental mastery doesn't mean you should focus on it. I mean that you should try to get some via substats or from other party members. And if it turns out that the Raiden Shogun is the one that's triggering electro charge reactions, then we might have to reevaluate this because she really wants to build for energy recharge and not elemental mastery. This team comp can still definitely work though. I just think it's going to take some labbing to figure out how well it's gonna do and how effective it's going to be. The next team comp is an overloaded comp, and with this team comp we follow the same guidelines as before, at least for the attack boost and the elemental shred, so that's going to stay the same, but the core now becomes using a pyro character. Pyro characters that can fit into this role are maybe the likes of Bennett, Xiangling, Klee, or Hu Tao, or even Diluc. I feel like I don't really need to repeat myself again because it's the same general idea and principles. And then the last team comp is a Double Geo, but you're using Geo as your main DPS, so this means Noelle or Ningguang. And of course Zhongli and Albedo can be main DPS characters as well if you really want them to. So the team comp here is the Raiden Shogun with 2 Geo characters, and the last slot is going to be an attack boosting character, probably Bennett or Sarah. Now, you might have noticed that I completely omitted Xiao from these team comps, and there's a very good reason for this, and that's because Xiao isn't going to get any benefit from elemental burst damage bonus. His attacks while in that mode don't count as burst damage, so all that damage bonus is basically wasted. We might need to see until she's actually fully released to see if she boosts Xiao's damage, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to. It's always worth it to double check though. And so well, this actually changes my mind about the Double Geo team for Noelle, since she also does not get a damage boost from any of the Raiden Shogun's elemental burst damage bonuses. Any other team comps that I couldn't really think of, please let me know down in the comments, and let me know what team comp you're going to be running for the Raiden Shogun. I'm very curious how many people want to run her as main DPS instead of sub DPS, because I'm running her as main DPS. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you loved it, then subscribe to the channel, and until next time, I will see you guys later.